Hi, welcome back to Ministry with Montez, where we talk God, His kingdom, and all things under it. I'm Anna Montez. If you're new here, we're back again with another video. And I'm excited for this one, and I'm very excited because this idea literally stemmed, I was on the way to Cyprus. I feel like in my past videos, all I've done is mention Cyprus, but it's because it's fresh off the dome. I literally just came back. But I was on the plane, and I wasn't even planning content. I was literally just reading my Bible because I made sure that I wanted to go to Cyprus with a book in mind, and I managed to get through Acts and Romans and then a little bit of Corinthians, and then I came back and then started reading another book. But I was on the plane and I was reading Acts 18 about the ministry of Apollos, and when I was reading it I was like, wow. So Apollos is a man from Alexandria, and he is an eloquent man. He's someone that's mighty in the scriptures. However, all he knows is of the baptism of John. So that basically means that he knows about the repentance, how we're supposed to be called into repentance, and then also make way for the Messiah to come. And that's all he knows. So he's a man of the scriptures, but that's kind of all he knows. Obviously everything before that, but that, and nothing pertaining to Jesus Christ, until he meets a couple called Aquila and Priscilla. And when they heard him, they went over to him and they took him aside and explained to him the way of God more accurately, which basically means, I think, that they told him more about Jesus Christ and his ministry and how the Messiah is already here. So obviously we need to still make way again for the Messiah, but the Messiah came. And I just thought that was really interesting because through community, Apollos was able to change the way in which he thought about his life and about what he was sharing with other people. And I'm really excited for this because it literally just came to me. I was on the plane, 5 hours the plane ride is from Manchester to Cyprus. And I think for about maybe 2 hours, I was just locking in and I was writing on my computer, I was just typing. And the guy next to me, he was like looking over my shoulder, and I thought, yeah, I bet you want to read this because I've been absolutely going for the past, I don't know how long. And I was just, yeah, so stay tuned. It's going to be a great episode. I've kind of already talked about what it is that I'm speaking about, but this video is, if you didn't gather, about community, because community is so important. I feel like we all know that you have to have friends, but community, I feel like community is more than just having friends, because anyone can have friends. You can have loads of friends, but community, it kind of gives the inclination of something smaller, a little bit more tight knit. You've got your little community, your people that you call on when you need help, when you need support, and that is very important for us as Christians. And it's important as well to have the right community, because when I think about things that I've maybe thought of over the years, having the right community can help you to either get rid of those thoughts that you've got, and then having the wrong community can help to solidify those thoughts that you have, and that's never a good thing. Proverbs 27:17 says, as iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the countenance of his friend. And what I take from that is, when I put it into real life, in our kitchen we have so many knives, and obviously as time goes on, those knives become blunt. And I don't know where it went, but we used to have a knife sharpener, and what happens is over time, as you use the knives, they just become more and more blunt. But if we were to buy a knife sharpener, that would mean that we're able to put our knives back into that and sharpen them again so that they can be used and not be a strenuous task when you're trying to chop open a tomato. So when you change the surroundings of the knife and put it through something that's supposed to build it up, it will come out sharpened. Same with people. When you have a person that, say for example, they've got a lot of potential within them, but they're around people that are not helping their potential to grow, that's going to become blunt. Their processes of thinking are going to be, I don't want to say dumbed down, but dumbed down because of who it is that they're around. It's like that saying, you are the company that you keep. So if you keep people around you that are doing nothing with their lives and they don't have any plans because they don't care, you're all of a sudden going to pick up those traits, and that is going to become you, whether it be straight away or over time. That will also be your fate. So when you have a community, you're able to get around those people, and on days where you're feeling down, like I said, and you just need somebody to build you up, they're able to lift you up and be that knife sharpener. You're able to share your thoughts, your ideas, things that have been upsetting you, questions that you might have about the faith that will stay in your head unless you share that with someone. God knew how important it was for people to have community, that even before he made Eve, he was walking around with Adam in the garden. Adam was never left alone. One, because God is everywhere. You can't escape from the Lord. It's like what it says, I think it's Psalm 139 verse 7, where can I go from your spirit, or where can I flee from your presence. If I ascend into heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. If I say, surely the darkness shall fall on me, even the night shall be light about me. Indeed, the darkness shall not hide from you, but the night shines as the day. The darkness and light are both alike to you. So Adam could not go anywhere without God anyways. So that emphasized from the jump that we need to be meeting with God daily, but it also emphasized the need for community. And it's like as well, when you're in prison, I love this analogy when it came to me on the plane. When people are in prison and they've done something that's really wrong, while still in the prison, they will have a punishment called solitary confinement. And that basically means that they will be sat in a room, nothing's on the walls, the door is as thick as anything. I think the lighting in there is terrible. You're literally on your own. And when people go in there, that's a punishment. To be on your own is a punishment for a long amount of time, because we know how important it is to be around other people. And I think as well, with community, it's definitely easier said than done in terms of finding it, because I find it so hard to find community, to find friends, because I'm one of those people, I will get into a room and I'm not gonna go in a room and take over that room. That's just not me. Maybe when I start chatting, my mouth will travel to each and every single one of the walls, but initially I'm going to go into the room and not really speak. And it's not because I'm stuck up or I think that I don't want to speak to anybody, I'm just here for God or anything like that. It's because of things that have happened to me in the past with friendships that have, I don't want to say traumatized me, because that sounds really serious, but they've definitely hurt me to a point where I don't feel comfortable approaching people and speaking to them because I'm scared of being rejected by them. It's a whole thing that the Lord will definitely help me through, because I find now that I'm in a new church and having to reach out to people to speak to them, it's definitely cropped up a lot more. I didn't have these feelings before, and if I did, God kind of wiped them away. But now that I'm in a new church around new people, baby, it's come back. It's come back. But the Lord calls us into having community. So I have cultivated a list in which there's things on it that can help you and help me into finding our communities. The first way that we can find community is to join a church and definitely start serving. 1,000,000% start serving at your church. But firstly, when you join a church, it's very... For me, I find it hard to speak to people that I don't know, so I understand that struggle. But it's kind of easier when you see those same faces every single week. And if you're like me and you kind of have this thing about perception and how people are going to perceive you and this and that, you just got to wipe that out. You actually just have to say, I'm in church now, so I'm going to leave that at the door. Don't even try and collect it when you leave, but leave it at the door. Because I feel like church is a place where you can go, and yes, there's judgment from within the church sometimes, but it's a place of worship and people worshiping the other day there was this guy, and it took me out of my worship because I was memorized by him, because he was like dancing and stuff, and I just thought, oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. So for a second I had stopped worshiping because I'm just looking at this guy thinking, that's so nice that he's there and he's dancing and he's like feeling the Holy Spirit in the air. I just thought it was really beautiful. But there's so many different things that are going on in church that you talking to someone, people are not going to care. Do you know what I mean? And I'm telling this to myself. People are not going to care if I go into a room and go up to somebody and be like, hi, how are you? Because I've had it done to me. Like, people have come up to me and been like, hi, are you all right? What's your name? This and that. And when people do that, I genuinely feel that's because God has put it on their heart to speak to me. Because like I said, it's hard, bro. It's actually hard. And sometimes I know that within myself, there's days where I feel it more and there's days where I don't feel it. Do you know what I mean? So I get it. But for me, because I serve on tea and coffee, being on tea and coffee, it really helps with that initial thing of people, because that's the place that people coming through the doors, and that's the first place that they go because they want a tea or they want a coffee or they want a biscuit or a water or whatever, and I'm stood right there and I get to speak to people. Even if it's just briefly, I get to just ask them how they are, which is something that we do with British people anyway, like, hi, alright. Like, there's nothing really like in depth about, hi, alright, yeah, I'm good, you. There's nothing, do you know what I mean? But even with that, it's breaking down barriers little by little until one day you can just have a smack bang conversation with someone and not feel any kind of trauma. The Lord will restore everything that the devil took away, so we ain't gotta worry about that. I think it also helps as well when you know people that are at the church that you're going to. That's not me saying go to a church that your friend goes to or your sister or your brother or whatever, because you can find that. With me, I used to go to Lighthouse Church with my sister, and I found that whenever I went to Lighthouse, it was only through convenience because Ella was driving and I'd get a lift there. And then when Ella went to Cyprus earlier this year, and God was like, go try the ramp, because he put it in my dream. He literally put it in my dream. One of my friends, Chloe from ballet, she's not Christian, and I had a dream in which she said that she was going to Ramp Church, and then I was like in the dream, oh, I've been wanting to go to Ramp, I'll try it out. And that's how I ended up at the Ramp. And literally week 1 when I started, I found someone and I was like, I want to serve. I went in there, had the service, went to the back and said I want to serve. Like, I wanted to get in there straight away and just settle, because I love Ramp Church, bro. If you're ever in Manchester, Ramp Church, try it, please. It's, yeah, man. But I found as well, because my friend Danielle, we used to go to Lighthouse Church together, and then she went to the Ramp and then I went to the Ramp. But she's gone to uni now, so I'm at the Ramp, and it's definitely been harder since she's gone. But Danielle, I know you watch these videos, and don't even take this as me saying I don't want you there, but it's easier that she's gone because I don't get to use her as a security blanket. Like, if that makes sense. I love Danielle, that's my guy. But if she was there, I know that I'd be using her as my security blanket, and I'd be going straight to her and not speaking to anybody else, because that's what I did at Lighthouse with my sister. And yes, I made friends at Lighthouse, but it was only through the connections that my sister had made. I just stuck myself onto that and then got to know those people through that. And I know for a fact that if Danielle was here, I'd be doing the same. So while she's away at uni, I'm going to try my hardest to make some friends so that when she comes back, I don't have that thing of holding on to her as a security blanket. Number 2, reach out to somebody. Like, genuinely, if you have somebody on social media and you see their content, or you just see something that they post on their story, say for example they're not a content creator like me, if you see someone and you just think, I like the vibe that they put out, let me message them and see what their actual vibe is, and then you might hit it off, you might not. If they're not interested, just unfollow them. It's never that deep. It's only social media. And if they're not nice, you shouldn't be following them anyways. But genuinely reach out to someone, but do it from a place of actually wanting to be their friend, not because of the lifestyle that you may see them lead, which I know kind of contradicts itself with what I just said. However, I know when someone reaches out to me and wants to be friendly with me and it be genuine, as opposed to them seeing what I do for work, seeing what I do for a living and thinking, oh, I can maybe gain something from that. Because being in a position where you know that someone is only really your friend because they want to not use you, but have something where they're able to say, oh yeah, I know that person, it's not a nice predicament to be in, do you know what I mean? So only reach out to people that you see leading a life that you think, yeah, that's something that I'm doing. We literally have the same interests. Say you see something that they post and you're also interested in that, just reach out. Like I said, if they're not nice, just delete them, but make sure that your heart is in the right place. Number 3, search up Christian events. I feel like nowadays there's always Christian events going on absolutely everywhere, especially in Manchester. There's always something going on. There was a worship night last Thursday, then there was one on Friday, there's one this Friday. They're literally going on all the time, and a lot of people go to these things on their own. I feel like I really talk with my hands. Not that I want to get out of it, but I talk with my hands a lot. So some people go on, I feel like I'm holding my hands now, and I just want to speak freely. I'm just going to speak freely. But people go on their own to these events, and because the kind of atmosphere that happens at a worship night, people are jumping one minute, then they're down and sad the next. And I just feel like whilst you're jumping, you're able to, I don't know, just get friendly with someone. Even if you're not actually speaking, you're just like singing together, just having fun, enjoying the atmosphere, the joy of the Lord. Everybody's happy, everybody's buzzing. And then afterwards, maybe you could reach out to them. Like if you see them, you're like, hi, what's your name? This and that. What church do you go to? Oh, what do you do? And then let the conversation flow. Don't come with like points, because that's something that the Lord convicted me over, was being in a mindset of planning conversations. Bro, he really convicted me on that one. I don't even remember how he did it, but I used to have scenarios where I would pretend to have the conversation with someone, plan my responses, and then if it didn't happen like that in real life, I'd just be kind of like, what the heck? You went against the script that I had created for us right now. What are you doing? And even like with what I do with this, I like to plan what I say. but then I kind of flow freely in that. So like on my laptop, everything that I'm saying, I have it written down, but then there's parts that I speak freely because it just like comes to me in the moment. So there's like key points that I say, but a lot of it I just kind of speak freely. But anyways, so definitely try and find a Christian event that's going on. Eventbrite is great. You can just type in a keyword and it will come up with so many different options. And then lastly, pray about finding a community. Like I said, God knows how important it is for us to have community. So if you ask him that, he's not going to deny you of it. Pray into finding the right Christian community. Really tweak your prayers. I find that sometimes God can be so literal. I don't know if it's the ye old English or what, but I find that God can be so literal. On Sunday or on Saturday last week, I was sitting with God and I said, Lord, I know you're a gentleman. You are such a gentleman. I want to see some roses. Right? I want to see some roses. And then Sunday came and I was at church and somebody had brought roses for somebody else. And I just saw them and I was like, oh my gosh, there's the roses. Maybe if I would have said, Lord, I would like some roses, maybe I would have gotten some roses somehow. I don't know. But because I said I wanted to see them, I saw them. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes he can be so literal. Like you actually do have to like tweak your prayers sometimes. But in Mark 6 chapter 7 it says, this is about Jesus, and he called the 12 to himself and began to send them out 2 by 2 and gave them the power over unclean spirits. So Jesus sent out the disciples 2 by 2. He sent them with someone. And this is really important because this is kind of at the beginning of the disciples doing something. This is at the beginning of their journeys. So God sent them out with someone. They weren't alone in that, because in the 2 there's support and there's accountability, and they're able to help you as you help them, like iron sharpening iron. But definitely remember within that you need to have community and friendship with the Lord before you seek out community and friendship with other people. Because I know that in my life, definitely, I have put other people over myself, and I'm starting to not think that that is very Christ-like. I don't know, but let me tweak that. It's definitely Christ-like to love one another, honor one another, share, help. Definitely Christ-like to do all of that. But to value somebody else over yourself, the Lord don't want you to be doing that. And that's definitely what I've done in the past. Even with like putting people over God and putting boyfriends over God and putting parents over God. I have definitely done all of those things. So I find that in my life now, because I am without community, to justify it to myself, this might not even be what God is doing, but to justify it to myself, I believe that once I have God being the absolute number one, no one can even bat an eyelid, and I wouldn't even fall at my feet. When I have that all the way down, I feel like that's when God is really going to grant me with that community. Do you know what I mean? Because it's not healthy. It's really not healthy. The Lord would not want us to put the value of someone else over ourselves, because he made us all individually. He loves us all individually. And yes, it is showing love to lay down your life for someone, but I feel like it's different if you absolutely have no love for yourself and you're pouring all the love that you should have for yourself into somebody else. That is when it's wrong. That's all the points that I have in terms of finding community. So that does mean that this is the end of the video. I feel like this one was a really quick video. Very quick. Maybe it won't be when I look at the time. I'm always blown away. When I look at my phone after I finish filming, it's always like an hour on the timer or something. And it's like an hour. How could I speak for an hour? I do like to chat. As much as I stay within myself, I do like to chat. And it's so interesting that I'm actually doing this episode today, because there's like a communities thing that I signed up for at my church, and I'm about to go to it. It's been on for like 3 weeks and I'm only about to go now. And I've not gone because I was ill and then there was a worship night that I was going to, but I don't want to put it off anymore. Do you know what I mean? I think there's also been a little bit of apprehensiveness within me and a bit of fear, because I'm kind of scared that I'm going to get there and I don't know, it's just everything that goes on when you're about to approach something. In my mind, it's so silly, because how will I ever know unless I just put myself in that? Do you know what I mean? I'm here plotting, thinking, oh, they're not going to include me, or I'm going to have nobody to speak to, no one's going to sit next to me, this and that. I could go in there and be absolutely showered with the love of Christ. Showered. But me, I could stop myself from doing that just because of what's going on in my head. So I am going to go to that communities thing, and I really, honestly, I hope that it blesses me. I pray that it blesses me. I feel like it will. I genuinely do feel like it will. But I'm going to be praying over you guys, because if you've clicked on this video, you're either interested to see what I have to say, or yourself is struggling with community. And me too, like I said, this is a very real thing that's going on even today, right now, this second, about 2 seconds ago, and I just shared that with you guys. So it's something that we're constantly having to work on, especially, like I said, if you've been through things in the past that has made you a bit apprehensive when it comes to sharing yourself with others. But yeah, I'll be praying for you guys. It will all work itself out. Just pray that you find the right community when the time is right. And remember not to lose yourself within your friendship groups. Don't lose yourself or your love of Christ. And that is all I have to say. So thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And please leave me a review on the podcast app if you're able to. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye!